We're approaching the third week of the 2019 Wyoming Legislative Session. And today we're joined in studio by Senator Ellis. So what's one of the highlights from last week?
We had a great hearing on a Senate Joint Resolution 3, which commemorates the 150th anniversary of women's suffrage in Wyoming. And I'm really proud of the fact that every female legislator is a co-sponsor of that bill.
And you're sponsoring a bill that would prevent the destruction of rape kit evidence without a court order. I understand that this passed on second reading in the Senate on Friday. What was the inspiration behind the bill?
At this point in my life, I think back to some of my college years and some of the support or lack thereof that women that I knew got when they had an instance of sexual assault. So really I started looking at this issue, and there are groups like End the Backlog which are tracking nationwide efforts to do rape kit reform. And so after taking a look at their website, you'll see that Wyoming is one of their holes. There's no rape kit legislation or reform bills in place. And so as I started working on this issue, I found out that we don't have an inventory, but we don't have a consistent statewide destruction policy. So the bill addresses that.
I have spoken with some victims and they feel like the bill protects them. Can you speak to that?
Absolutely. On the floor, we talked a lot about what getting one of these exams entails, and it's a highly intrusive exam, and we want victims to know that their kits are being treated respectfully, that they're being tracked, and that they're going to have access to justice later on if they decide that they don't want to report immediately but later on want to do so.
You've also mentioned that a priority of yours is school safety. Now, as a mother, I can imagine this could hit home.
So before the legislature is one bill that deals with really the practicing of what the response should be if a violent intruder attack were to happen. Since the first time I dropped my kid off at kindergarten 5 years ago, I've seen a lot of the safety features that our school district has used to make their schools safer. But as I've traveled the state, I've realized that not all school districts have those safety features.
I hear you're working on another safety-related bill.
Yes, thank you for asking. In Laramie County, we received reports from our school district that there were 1,800 incidents where a school bus driver had captured images of people passing the stopped school buses and submitting those to law enforcement. And presently, it's a very cumbersome process for law enforcement to try and identify the driver. The bill that I'm working on doesn't assign blame of who the driver was. It merely says that if your vehicle was used in that violation, that you'll be on the hook, similar to something like a parking ticket.
What are you looking forward to next week?
We have a great week coming up in the Wyoming Legislature. I'm also the co-chair of the Wyoming Women's Legislative Caucus. And this year, in commemoration of the 150th anniversary of suffrage, we have Cokie Roberts coming in as our keynote speaker. I'm sure you're familiar with Miss Roberts. She's an Emmy award-winning journalist. She's written several books that are on the New York Times best-selling list, and they're really focused on understanding the history and the role that women have played in shaping our nation.
Thank you so much for coming on our show and giving us this legislative update. For a particular piece of legislation, you can give your thoughts through the online hotline. You can also leave a short comment about a bill. Keep in mind, though, that comments are limited to 140 characters. For more information, visit wyoleg.gov.